I'm Gina Duvernay, the Adult Services Manager for Gwinnett County Public Library. Thank you so much for being here. We have all the Tropes books store in the back there. Kate's back there. We're so glad to have her with us tonight. It is a all romance bookstore located in the Kirkwood neighborhood of Atlanta. So we're happy to have her here. She's got some cute totes and some other goodies over there. So if you haven't visited her table, please do so. We also, if you've ever had a burning desire to volunteer for the library, why are you laughing? Come on up, Terry. I know you have, look at this beautiful place, right? Then you can always volunteer with the library. We have an amazing volunteer coordinator. She's got 59 seconds to tell you
59.
about how you can do that. All right, Terry.
Hi, my name is Terry Preston. Some of you have seen me before at some of the events, but I'm the volunteer program manager here, and I oversee the volunteer program. We are currently looking for volunteers for our adult program series and also for our Career Online High School that helps high school students obtain their high school diploma, along with our New Start program. But we also received a $350,000 grant from Carnegie Corporation, and we'll be looking for ESL volunteers also. So if you do have a burning desire to be a volunteer, come see me. We have some amazing things along with our community engagement ambassadors that help with big events that we have at our branches. I think that's 59.
Yes, but we want to reiterate, we want to make sure they know that none of us get any of this 350. Right, it's volunteer.
No, it's for
volunteer, right.
No, but we do have some incentives with that program.
Yes, yes,
but it's
she's
gonna be
very
a
good at
wonderful
that.
program that's going to help extend our ESL program in the library.
Excellent. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. Okay. All right. Now to what we're all here for. Moderating tonight's talk is Brianna Pepins. Brianna, right? Brianna Pepins. I want to make sure I get it right. Brianna was born in D.C. and raised in Maryland. She graduated from Spelman College with a bachelor's degree in psychology and shortly after began writing her debut novel, Briarcliff Prep, which is back there on the table. When not writing, Brianna takes special interest in spending time with her loved ones, social justice issues, yoga, baking, embroidery, and is a self-proclaimed movie aficionado. And tonight's featured author is none other than Jacinta Howard. Let's give her a round of applause. Yes, Jacinta is an Atlanta-based author and culture journalist with over a decade of experience writing about music, art, and pop culture. As a lifelong music lover, Jacinta's experiences in culture journalism naturally influences her novels, which explore the complexities of relationships, personal healing, and true intimacy. Named a USA Today recognized author and two-time Reward of Novel Excellence Award nominee, her books have been featured in USA Today, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Book Riot, and OK Africa. When she is not writing, she is relaxing on the beach with her family, a good book, and a great playlist. Let's give them both a round of applause.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming out today. I was so happy when I was invited to moderate this book for Jacinta Howard, When 40 Blooms. It's quickly become one of my favorites. I've been able to read it twice now. Once I read it, the second time I did the audiobook, which was fantastic. If you haven't had the opportunity yet to do the audiobook, it brings even more life to this story that's already full of life. So I'd highly, highly recommend it. But I'm just going to jump right in with my first question. Why is it that you decided to write Simone's story, one where she's not only turning 40, which is a huge deal, but also one where she's experiencing this second chance romance as an established person who's just trying to make her way in Atlanta with her business and stay true to her morals?
Oh, okay. So I decided to write When 40 Blooms because I'm always interested in writing stories that I feel like are kind of underrepresented. And we don't see a whole lot of over 35 romance heroines in romance. And so that is just always cool and interesting to me. And then also I wanted to present turning 40 in a more realistic light. Everyone doesn't have their stuff together. Sometimes there's healing that still needs to take place. And so I thought that would be a cool way to explore those ideas.
And is second chance romance something that you like personally love to read, or is it just maybe something that's personal to you, or what would you say?
No, I don't particularly. I don't. Second chance romance is honestly not my favorite trope. It's not even my second favorite trope. But I think honestly, when I'm writing romance, I write story first and then pull the tropes out later because I know that's how people identify with the books. But I do always, I did find the idea of her like exploring love with someone who exploring love in a new way after she had ended the relationship due to her own trauma, like exploring what that healing process looked like. So yeah, I mean, I don't love second chance romance as a trope, but I do like this book.
Right, very fair answer. Second chance romance is actually one of my favorites. So, you know, I love it. As far as your writing style, there are a lot of books that are good, but I don't feel like I don't fall in love with the writing style. But yours felt very warm, felt very empathetic, and it just felt like all of that was bleeding into the writing, almost like a more complex, intimate Hallmark story in a way. And so while I was reading it, I felt like even when she was, Simone was with Logan or Tristan, it felt like when she was with Logan, maybe like an episode of Insecure or Girlfriends was something that was coming to mind. So what would you say were your influences for the feel almost of the book? Did you have any like movies or TV shows that like really, really influenced you?
um, oh, sorry, mine's just like my influences are like I'm a huge music fan. So I'm always really I listen to music a lot to like get me in a writing zone. But like what you said, I mean, I love Insecure. I love writing about awkward Black girls, quirky Black girls. Most of my books feature like quirky heroines. And so yeah, I mean, I think I'm really mostly just inspired by life. Like I'm a quiet person naturally. I'm always like the person reading the room, watching what people are doing. I listen to the way people talk, the cadence of conversations. And I'm also the person that people bring their problems to a lot. Because I am quiet and I just listen a lot. So that's probably my primary inspiration and influence. But I mean, of course, like what you said, like, I love Insecure. I love what else did you say? Girlfriends. I dig Girlfriends. I dig well, I'm not gonna lie and say I like Hallmark. I mean, like I I enjoy the concept of Hallmark. I enjoy love. It, gushy feelings, but I mean Hallmark can get a little, I mean, yeah.
Too mushy. Yeah, I get it. I really, really vibe with them during Christmas time.
Yeah. I'll watch it. I mean, yeah. My mom and I we'll do the Hallmark thing. I mean, I'm not hating on Hallmark. No offense to Hallmark. Y'all
Okay, there were constant generational echoes in this book and cycles that seem to be repeating themselves. What would you say were Simone's greatest strengths or weaknesses in breaking the cycles or silencing the echoes?
Oh, wow. That's a wonderful question. I would say I dealt with generations very intentionally in this book. And I think that Simone, she obviously struggled with recognizing the way that the trauma of her childhood played into her current relationships. She thought she had dealt with it. She had not. And I think that's a lot of times the way trauma presents itself. You might think that you've healed from something, and then a situation arises and there's the trauma. and there's you trying to figure out how to navigate yourself around that. So I think that was probably what she did not do well with. I do think that she was aware to some degree that she had experienced trauma, and she was able to pretty quickly identify the source of her issues. I think that was a strength, and that she was willing to deal with them, even if she was making mistakes along the way. I think, yeah, I don't know if they answered.
Yeah, absolutely did. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that definitely answered the question. That I was reading it myself and just thinking gosh, why isn't this obvious to her almost? But that's how it is when you're not living the exact circumstance.
Yeah, and I think I think readers, without giving too much away, I think readers had an opportunity. Like you would probably say that because you got to see the therapy on the page, so it was easier for you reading her therapy sessions to be like, "Yo, like, why don't you get this already?" But for her, it was, she was actually in the moment and trying to apply her therapy learnings in real life, in real time.
And that leads straight into my next question. I myself, in my sophomore novel, began writing in therapy scenes myself, and I write towards teenagers, but I just always feel like it's so beautiful when therapy is in the books, it's taken seriously. A lot of times when it's black woman to black woman, it just feels like a lot more intimate. And Zuri was one of my favorite characters. Immediately, just the way that she listens and clocks things, and it's just so attuned. So why would you say that you wanted to specifically include a couple of therapy sessions in there for Simone?
I think in this book it was just necessary. And I think that what she was working through, the book benefited from having therapy on the page. I don't always, I write a lot about like trauma and healing in a lot of my books. I don't always put therapy actually in the page. You don't always actually read the therapy sessions. But for this, I just thought that it fleshed it out more. It allowed you to see a little bit more backstory for her and Jackson, actually for her growing up as well. And then with Zuri, I was really intentional with how I wrote her, especially being in Atlanta. I really wanted to represent Black therapists, regular, cool Black therapists. And so that was important for me to, to present Zuri in a way that Simone could relate to and readers could relate to too.
Absolutely, and you did a really great job of putting them on the page and making it feel very realistic. Yeah, it just felt good to be able to sit there and reflect. She reminded me so much of my very first therapist, who I happen to just love. Saved my life in a couple of different ways. And so I've always been a huge advocate of when you need help, get help in whatever way that comes. And seeing it now more commonly put not only in TV shows, but in our books too, just feels like a step towards the right direction. So loved it. As far as your characters, almost in general, would you say when you're writing, are they typically based on people that you know or experiences that you've had with folks? Or is it really just you coming up with these people as a blank slate?
I think it's mostly me coming up with these people as a blank slate, but my experiences and my observations of people obviously seep into the stories. So with this book in particular, I was wondering if I was putting too much of my story in the book. But yeah, I mean, sometimes some of the experiences, some of the circumstances are very personal with a little bit of a twist, but generally I'm just writing blank characters. Yeah.
Okay. And if you see me looking at my phone, that's where my questions are. I promise you. Okay. So Zuri says something along the lines of when you hold everything in, you never fully show up. And I think that one of the worst parts of that being, one of the worst parts of being so self-aware is that you get into that portion where you start to doing the overcorrection that Simone fell head over heels into. Would you say, as the author, that her actions concerning Jackson specifically come from a place of sense for the situation she puts herself in, or are they purely out of fear?
I think as it relates to Jackson, it was very much rooted in fear. I think she was afraid of failing that relationship. I think she was afraid of failing herself, of failing to protect herself. And I think that she was afraid of failing to protect her child. And she was projecting a lot of what happened in her own childhood into her marriage. And and obviously that's where the overcorrection came. And I think that she was so busy she was so afraid of turning into her parents that, oops, is exactly what you did.
Mhm. Yes, but it was still just such a beautiful journey to watch them on. Seeing the struggles, of course, like I said before, things are very plain to the reader a lot of times, but seeing her work through it was so realistic of this horrible thing happened to me all throughout my childhood. Didn't know if we were going to make it through. They shouldn't be together, but they are again and again and again. But I don't want to be like them. And so what do I do? And so watching her work through that, it just felt like, yeah, that's what a person would do. No judgment. No judgments at all. Okay. I was really, really impressed with the maturity when it came to co-parenting Caleb. And Caleb was like a perfect little angel boy. I love it. Such a cute kid. Why did you want to display them like that? Or I guess I'm asking more so, what was the inspiration behind them being this mature couple? Was it just a thing of not wanting that complicated co-parenting style to be something that overtook the story, or what was it?
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it. She already had enough things to work through with Jackson. She did not need to add parenting drama on top of that. And I also wanted to just show through the way that they co-parented the dynamics of their relationship. They really had a pretty strong foundation. He was a good dude. She was a good person. They just had stuff that they needed to work out. And so yeah, I thought, yeah, I was not trying to add an extra drama with the co-parenting. No. And I really liked Caleb too. I thought he was so cute too.
So cute. Their own little spinoff they could have. I support it all the way. Once again, there were echoes not only for in the familiar relationships, but when it came to Tiana, and if you haven't read the book yet, Tiana is Caleb's girlfriend, on and off. They have their own difficult relationship that's beautiful at the same time. But what really, really stuck out to me was how Simone kind of stepped in when Tiana needed an extra person. It felt like this author is a girl's girl. And what was the influence behind deciding I want to write a character who's struggling, who doesn't really see exactly that this little girl in front of her is an echo of who I was, but when she recognized that, just completely taking her under her wing, not only because it's important to her as a person, as a woman, but because it's important as a mother, because she cares about Caleb and how it's going to influence him as well. So just a little bit more about Tiana, who is my favorite character all the way.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Loved her.
Yeah, Tiana was, I really enjoyed writing Tiana. I feel like characters like Tiana come pretty naturally to me. And yeah, I wanted Simone's dealings with her to feel realistic, but like you said, also she's just a caring and compassionate person. And I think that even if, I mean, that dynamic was a little complicated because this girl who was clearly troubled is with her son, and so she's trying to protect her son, and his, he's a very emotive kid. So, she's trying to protect him as well. And so that kind of like complicated that dynamic. And I had to really think that through when I was writing, like, what is that going to look like? But ultimately, I think, she leads, I think it's just important to lead with love. And that's what she did. She led with love in that situation, even when she wasn't completely clocking that this girl was like an echo, like you said, an echo of you. And so yeah, I mean, I think, and I also think Tiana and that dynamic also added depth to Simone's character. And maybe you could see a little bit of perhaps how Simone was when she was that age even. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I loved it as the way that you're handling these very, very serious topics. If you're not aware, self-harm does come up in the book, as well as panic attacks, anxiety, and things like that. And this isn't much of a question, actually. It's just more so appreciation of the methods that are written into the book that then readers can take and say, oh, if I'm experiencing this, if I'm experiencing this, I have seen it before, even if it is in a book, even if the book was fiction. It just always feels like a helping hand, someone extending a hand. And so I really, really value that from authors, extending that hand. Okay, I love adult romance personally, and there are no children in the room. Okay, so me personally, I love a good smut scene. When there's a baby. Amen. So we are, I'm gonna, hold on, let me think. There's a baby. So when you are writing spicier scenes that are not smut, because they are not, you have a way of let me find it. Hold on. You have a way of incorporating the sweetness, the romantic, all of the romance in a real intimacy. And so my point is that they're sweet scenes overall. Is that something as a writer that you would say comes almost naturally to you? Or is it something that when you are writing, there's like a ton of revisions, a ton of trying to get the wording right to make sure that it is more so intimacy over complete open door of what a lot of is out right now. No shame to it, because like I love it. But yeah.
Yeah, so so when I approach a love scene, I'm very, it's part of the plot. It's not like I don't just write gratuitous love scenes. Like, they has to be, like, if you skip it, then you've missed part of the story. Like, that's really important to me. And also, I just like to be realistic. Sometimes, they can get a little like, okay, like, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, and yeah, I mean, of course, in this book in particular, like, I did not do a lot of revisions. They came very naturally. Most of my love scenes do, honestly. I don't typically, I mean, I might like beef them up a little bit, but not, yeah. But with this book in particular, their intimate scenes were so essential to the story, in my opinion. It was really important in establishing the way that they related to each other, how they loved each other, how they communicated with one another. And then there's a lot of conversation that happens around their scenes. A lot of like key conversation to the book. So yeah, and that's just what I enjoy reading. I enjoy reading scenes that are intimate and sensual and sweet, and not always sweet, but in line with the dynamic of the characters. If that scene comes along and it's like out of left field and it does not relate to what the characters were doing before, and like all of a sudden there's a whole new personality that just does not match anything at all that has been happening in the book, it takes me out of it. So I'm very like aware of not doing that. Mine.
Okay. Yeah, I loved it. It was very, very just intimate, and I was sitting there kicking my feet because it's so cute. Yeah, I appreciated it. I fully agree. All of those scenes were integral to the story. Like they weren't just thrown in to be thrown in. Like, it was important for us to be able to get to know who these characters are, and those scenes emphasize who they were as characters. It felt like we as readers were being set up almost for a sequel, possibly. Whether that be Logan and Tristan's love story, or possibly Caleb and Tiana's. Is that something that's in the works, or something that you would ever consider doing? Writing.
Yes, I would consider. Um, so yeah, so I would consider. This book is published to a small press, so that is it's not as cut and dry as it would be if I had been publishing independently. So, but yes, I absolutely would consider both of those stories. Yes.
Okay, and I'm absolutely rooting for Caleb and Tiana. As the YA writer myself, I'm always here for the YA love stories, because when you take a step back and you're looking at it, we don't have a ton of representation of young kids who the point of their story, however it's being told, whether it be movies, TV shows, or books, the point is that they're falling in love. And so when I sit down and watch things like To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Forever, now for We Have Forever, which I'm just thrilled about. But there's just still not a ton. Like I think, oh, Love and Basketball, that was a older one. And I can't think of O'Reilly, which is a kind of a newer one. But I love any opportunity for young Black children to see themselves in that kind, sweet light. So if you write it, I'll read it. Would you say that you have any specific or niche dreams for When 40 Blooms?
Niche dreams?
Like TV show or movie?
I mean, yeah, I write books. I want to see them on screen. I think most authors aspire to that, really. So yeah, that'd be dope.
It would. Yeah, I feel like you're absolutely up there with the Talia Hibberts and the Kennedy Ryans of them all. And so being able to see these love stories on screen would be just fantastic. So I do like to check in and make sure that other authors are like, yeah, I want to see it too. Can you tell me who your fan cast are for 3 of your characters?
Ooh, you know what? Like if I were casting, I like casting. I would love to because I'm really into TV and film too. I'd love to cast someone who is like undiscovered talent. Like I love that. Like just being able to pick through and I would love to do something like that. Honestly, yeah.
I'm gonna give you mine for Jackson. Okay. There is a Christmas series on Hallmark that features Kelly Rowland, Merry Little Christmas, Merry Little Christmas Wedding, Merry Little Christmas Baby. Yes. And I can't remember his name, but I'm going to show you a picture later. The male lead for that would have been the perfect Jackson. If we ever get to that point, I'm going to.
Do y'all agree? Y'all saw it. I haven't seen it too.
Merry Little Christmas Baby, Kelly Rowland.
Yeah.
Come on. It was so good. I can't think of his name, but it was fantastic. It was like one of those really, really mushy ones, but he was a great character in the TV shows. And I had Simone too. I lost it, and that's okay. Okay. And what can we expect next from you?
Hopefully not as long of a hiatus as I took before I released this book. I have some things in the work now. Nothing that I would feel comfortable saying, but yeah, I have some stuff in the works. Yeah.
Okay. Adult.
Yeah. More romance books.
More romance. We always love it. Love to have it. Love to read it. Okay, so I am going to open the floor to questions. Do we have a microphone or will I? Just project. All right. Any questions for Jacinta? This is your time to shine.
I'm halfway through, so I'm trying to think of what questions I have. I'm on chapter 14.
Okay, I have actually a question. So, loved everybody, love all the characters. So Tiana and Caleb. As a mother, I feel like I had some concerns. About it. So I was just wondering, was there any part of you that, honestly, I love that Simone was there for Tiana and the role she played in helping her. But as a mom, I was like, Caleb, no, she got a little too much going on. You're getting in too deep and too young. Was there any part of you that felt it could be a little too much, or?
Yeah. Yeah. I did. My daughter just went into high school this year, and I saw a little boy walking into the school with a beard, and I was like, whoa, whoa. She can't be in here with okay. So yes, I do. But I do think that I think that the circumstances surrounding Tiana, and I think the way that she embraced her was one, needed for Tiana too, because it wasn't only just about Caleb and Simone. It was also about, her. And I think that, I think that she set boundaries. I think that moving forward, I could see her setting firm boundaries with them. And, she's very involved in Tiana's life. Like, she talks to her a lot. And I think that's probably the most important thing. I think her setting, I think a lot of times when you're like, no, you can't do something, they sneak and try to figure out a way to do it anyway. And they had already kind of been doing that. This is why he was getting in trouble at school. So I think them opening up a pathway of communication, Jackson opening up a pathway of communication. They had great communication with him. They also involved her parent, so I think, as much as you can control that situation and as much as you can create boundaries around that, I think that they did do that. But yeah, I feel you. I thought a lot about how I was going to present and deal with that, because that would be concerning. Absolutely.
And I'll say too, back to just the maturity of it all and being able to read these types of books where Tiana and Caleb get into a situation where they shouldn't be and get caught with it all. But the way that Simone and Jackson then go about it is such a healing, calm, you're human type of situation. Yes, this happened. Maybe it shouldn't have, but we're going to talk through it. We don't have to scream and yell and hit and all of that and fight. It's just a human moment that if you haven't read it yet, the book is full of those where it's just like, these are people, these are human beings, these are babies a lot of the times as well. And so giving them that grace, I always advocate for it.
Yeah, you definitely can't shame your way into teaching teaching a person to behave a way. You can't shame them into correct behavior. So.
And that was another step towards, I feel, Simone and Jackson breaking cycles that were unhealthy while they're trying to figure out their own stuff at the same time. Any other questions? Yes.
You were talking about tropes earlier. What is your favorite trope to write? Or
Friends to lovers.
yes, that's one of my favorites too. Okay.
I have a question. For those that haven't read the book, like we've read it all, can you just give us a synopsis? Because we're hearing a lot of like names, but can you just give us a synopsis?
Okay, so the book is about a woman named Simone she's a leap year baby and she's about to turn 40. And right as she's about to turn 40, she's kind of like hit with all of these things in various aspects of her life that force her to come to terms with with herself and with her family. She's recently, I guess you would say 2 years is recently divorced. That's fair. She's recently divorced, and she has a teenage son named Caleb, who's dealing with his own issues with his love interest. And so, yeah, as she's turning 40, she's blooming. I don't know, but as she's turning 40, she's forced to figure some things out.
Alrighty, do we have any other questions?
I have one more question. The cover, did you have input in it? It's very, very pretty.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. I'm glad I clearly did not design it, but yeah, I had input in it. Yeah, it came out really nice. Thank you.
Hey, ma'am, we have a question in the front row.
Me?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
I asked one already.
oh, I did you question? Not yet.
Come on, no,
Not yet.
I see that you have your playlist in the book. Can you talk about your writing process? Did the songs that you listed, are they connected to chapters, or how did you use music in writing?
Great question.
Yeah, I write a lot to music. I'm a very like I told you, like I'm a music person. But the songs that I picked, yeah, they don't necessarily correlate to exact chapters, but they are very, I picked them intentionally because they reflect what's going on in the book. So yeah. And then there are also, some of them are songs that I was listening to as I was writing. But then others are just, some of them are songs that I mentioned in the book too. But yeah, all the songs in here correlate to story. Yeah.
Yes.
I just have a statement. Sorry, I'm Kate. Just as someone who is turning 40 this year, who goes to therapy every week, it is incredibly refreshing to see books like this, right? I own a romantic bookstore, and a lot of it is young people or people in their 20s, and it's like you need to go through life a little bit. Like it's hard for me to like relate to younger folks, you know, and when you're turning 40, people think you should have everything together, but you do not. You do not, right? And it's refreshing, and I'm always so grateful when books come out that resonate with people their generation, because they read the needs too. You know what I mean? It's like, I have so many people that come out all the time, and they're like, oh, I need a book, I'm like in my 50s though, and I'm like, oh girl, there's only like a few choices. And, you know, that stinks. So I'm glad to get back to store shelves and to like have another thing to suggest. So thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yes.
I have a question, but I do have a comment that I just wanted to give you in Jackson's character, and just let you know that I really appreciate, you don't oftentimes see or hear Black men in referenced as caring and supportive and loving and soft, right? But he was very much that, and I did appreciate that, because there's a lot of vulnerability, and even Caleb, like in the son, like there's a lot of vulnerability that Black men just, they don't get credit for, and they don't necessarily get to be that in the world and get the support that they need. So I do appreciate and respect in both of them, like the dad being strong and who he needed to be for his family unit, but also, you know, showing that vulnerability in the son as well. Like, hey, they have feelings too. They go through things too. And I did appreciate and respect that. So.
Thank you. That's why I really love, well, I'm gonna talk specifically about Black romance. And you find like writers who do that, who show that men can be masculine and vulnerable at the same time, and who can like live in their feelings and then still also be protectors for their family. So yeah, that's why I love it. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.